Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I'm the founder of Raw Motivations. I help women that are trapped in toxic relationships find freedom from the trauma bond, from the triggers, from the crazy cycle that they just keep going through over and over. I also work with a select few guys that have shown up as the narcissist or the cheater, the abuser, the liar, to help them actually find the path back to truth and being honest. Not too many guys take us up on that simply because they are content with staying the liar so they don't actually heal, grow, and change themselves. But any of this resonates with you tonight, go to rawmotivations.com. Want to be able to invite you to be able to partner forward with you to help you heal, grow, and change your life. I'm jumping on here really quick. I just got back from Trader Joe's and from Sprouts, so I ran a bunch of errands and stuff like that tonight. Got a haircut, so looking fresh. But inside of all this, wanted to be able to jump on here. You can drop in some questions in the chat of narcissism, narcissistic abuse, how to heal, all those different pieces. But while we do that, I'm also going to be emptying out some of the coolers and putting away groceries. So if you're new, feel free to be able to jump in, ask questions, drop stuff in, and I will be hanging out, putting groceries away, chilling with y'all, and answering some questions at the same time. So any questions you have about narcissistic abuse, fire away. If you guys are new just tuning in, you're like, who is this guy? What's he talking about? I'm a narcissist, and inside of this, how I showed up was very toxic over many years. Mentally and emotionally gaslighting my wife, mentally and emotionally abusing. Also a litany of different affairs that happened that was breaking down our relationship because of how I was showing up as a coward, unwilling to actually be honest about a lot of different things. So, might have just muted it. There we go. All right. How to recover from gaslighting. The biggest piece about gaslighting is getting clear about what is the actual truth of the situation. Many of the times, gaslighting is all meant to try to convince you that you're crazy, right? That you're a liar, that you don't know what you're talking about. And so inside of that, we have to get you grounded back to reality. What's actually real? What's actually true? Oftentimes, the narcissist wants you to believe that you aren't thinking right, you aren't thinking smart, all those different pieces. So we have to ground you back to the truth of what's actually going on. I was accepted into your program. How do I determine what I need to change to be accepted? Not exactly sure what you're talking about. Anybody that's accepted in the program goes through me. And so you have to sit down, have a conversation, have a call. So you can do that at rawmotivations.com. Click on the breakthrough or the one-on-ones. We'd love to be able to have a chance to be able to talk to you and see what's going on. So some of our programs we have rolling out are different, and there's a lot of different pieces that are always going on. Right now, if you want to be able to get an idea of what I do, you can actually go to rawmotivations.com, click on masterclass, and we're actually running a masterclass this coming week. We've got our first one that is tomorrow, so feel free to be able to tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then we've got one Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Brand new masterclass that we're rolling out. They want to help people actually understand, are they dealing with a narcissist? Are they with a toxic person? What does it actually look like? How to actually move forward? So feel free to be able to tune into that. Don't we have any thoughts on Diddy? I am sorry, I tried to find your webinar. I was never able to find it. I don't know why. Am I too late? You are not too late. So it's actually happening tomorrow. So go to rawmotivations.com, and then it's right there at the top. We pin it at the top. That way you can actually get to it. How do I keep from retaliating? She's done so many horrible things to her son, and I feel so badly want to confront her and know that's what she wants. So yeah, just understand that that's what she wants, because the narcissist is looking for a reaction. Like, they're looking for a reaction, a response, and inside of that, the whole goal is how do I get you to react a certain way so I can trigger and control you? That's the whole piece. So you might be trying to prove a point, make sure that this person knows what's right, what's wrong, whatever. The whole thing you need to understand is the majority of times when you're trying to have a conversation with a narcissist, you're trying to prove a point or you're trying to get something across. It's like arguing with a wall. And you just have to understand, like, that wall's not going to change. That wall's not going to actually get it. That wall actually doesn't even care about you. So it's really, really hard for a lot of people to come to terms with that. So the more we can actually bring to the place of understanding, hey, no matter what you say, they're not going to change. They're not going to do anything different. So let's stop running through the same exact thing over and over and over, expecting different results. It's a big thing that people do inside of dealing with narcissists, expecting something different, but always getting the same thing over and over. What's your profession? I'm a coach. And so I work with women that are trapped in toxic relationships to find freedom, and I work with men that have shown up narcissistic to find truth. I had a boss that became obsessed with me. It was a nightmare. Yeah, a lot of times narcissists will get very obsessed. Are they in a constant state of suffering, or are they happy that they have control over us? So a narcissist is never truly happy. What a narcissist is looking for is they're looking for happiness, which is this quick high. But it's not true happiness, aka it's not true joy. But what they're looking for is this quick high that they can never seem to latch on and actually find, because they're unwilling to even have gratitude in their life about anyone else in their life at all. My husband, a narcissist, now I can't do anything. Aka like you're like feel like trapped in the relationship. You can't do anything. He won't let you do anything. What does that actually mean? Because at the end of the day, the biggest piece is you actually finding your own freedom from the toxic relationship. You don't work with female narcissists, only male narcissists. So I work with male narcissists and I work with female abused. Now, that being said, I have met with, over the years, I've only had maybe 5 total female narcissists ever even reach out. Oh, that won't fit. Okay. So that's why I don't. I have some guys that reach out that have been abused by female narcissists, and it's just not a good fit for the program that I currently run. So I have a program for male narcissists and a program for female abused, and that's what I currently run with. Now, that being said, one of my one-on-one clients is a female narcissist because she got on the call with me. It ended up being a good fit, and I was like, I don't even have a program for you. So we ended up working one-on-one. Is it true? If it's not true happiness, then why are these people so fond of pleasing them, the enablers? So the enablers are fond of pleasing the narcissist. The narcissist fond of where are we at with that? I don't really understand that. Would you say abstaining from relationships is a way to heal after a relationship with a narcissist? I would say that might be a piece of your journey so that you can develop whatever aspect you need to see clearly about relationships. But it's not necessarily a surefire win that it's going to heal you. Just abstaining from relationships isn't going to fix you or fix the problem, because a lot of times the problem is more deep-seated than you just going cold turkey on any relationships. Biggest thing is we have to help you actually rewire the story that you're telling yourself. Otherwise, it's so easy for you to actually get back into another toxic or an abusive relationship. So just staying away from relationships won't necessarily heal you. That's the biggest thing we need to understand inside of what I was just trying to say there. Did the comments freeze? Nobody dropped any comments. All right. If you're new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. If you're just tuning in, you're like, what is this guy talking about? What's going on? I'm just answering questions that they drop in the chat while I'm putting away my groceries because we got back super late. So didn't have a chance to be able to do this. That's just how it is. If you like it, then it works. If you don't, then, well, tough luck. So anyways, drop any questions that you have in the chat about narcissism, narcissistic abuse. We'd love to be able to help you inside this process of moving forward of how do you actually heal from narcissistic abuse? How does it actually look on a day-to-day basis, finding your freedom from the toxicity that you're currently stuck in? Why are enablers so fond of pleasing narcissists if they don't ever have real happiness? It's just trying to do something that will never happen. So enablers, so there's many different pieces with that. So enablers, like people want to try to please the narcissist oftentimes to be able to get their validation and approval. So it has nothing to do with the narcissist's happiness. It has everything to do with the enablers trying to be able to please or get validation or approval from the narcissist. That question, there's too many routes and there's too many things in there to be able to answer it just directly. Do narcissist married men want to be married? Want to be married yet act single? Oftentimes the piece of wanting to be married, quote unquote, for the narcissist males is the idea of like wanting to appear more normal, wanting to blend into society. But it's not necessarily of, oh, I want to be married and actually faithful to one person, because typically the narcissist is either a liar or a cheater. And as a result, they're still trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're still trying to have this piece, this high of getting away with the cheating, getting away with controlling another person. So where I live, I'm facing every problem. Do you recommend leaving the place or facing these issues? If you're dealing with a narcissist or a toxic relationship, and inside that relationship, he's not honest, he's not vulnerable, he's not showing consistent change, leave. A lot of things we're going to start addressing inside of my masterclass. I'm actually running 4 of these live this coming weekend. You can go to rawmotivations.com and actually sign up for a masterclass. It's a free masterclass. You can jump in. Seats are getting limited because there's already about 150 people that are signed up. So just want to let you know that, but rawmotivations.com, be able to check that out. How do you even know if you're self-narcissistic? That we're definitely going to answer on there, talking through the different traits, what's actually going on. I don't believe that narcissists ever have true happiness. Yes, they don't. That's what I was saying. They don't have true happiness because they can't experience joy, because they're not actually willing to be grateful for other people. So you can't have joy without gratitude, put it that way. Do narcissists feel guilt? Yes, they do feel guilt. There's a little bit of piece of regret, but they do feel guilt. The biggest thing is they process it way faster, and they like compartmentalize and move past it as quick as possible. So a lot of times this piece of like guilt, people are like, narcissists never feel guilt. They do. That's also why they activate the shame and the guilt, and why they get to the place where they want to run away, hide, and not be accountable for the things that are currently happening or the things that are going on. So narcissists are always running from shame. Narcissists are shame avoidant, okay? How do you deal with a narcissistic man who you're married to, by the way, will take accountability but later lie about it? So is that actually taking accountability, or is that just manipulating you even more? End of the day, a apology without changed behavior is still manipulation. So at that point, he might be taking accountability, but he's lying about it later. Is he really taking accountability, or is he just appeasing you in the moment to get away from the problem and then go backtracking on it once he realizes, oh, like I'm actually gonna have to be accountable or responsible for that? Do narcissists feel guilt? We just answered that. Yep. Why won't a narcissist co-parent? Because that would mean he'd actually have to respect you. I mean, that's really the biggest thing. The narcissist would actually have to respect you, and he'd actually have to be willing to work with you. You have to understand, he never respected you inside of the relationship. Why is he going to start now? He's not, because he actually doesn't give a shit about you. All he cares about is himself, his image, his money, his control over you. So getting to the place of understanding, there's no co-parenting with a narcissist. You're not going to be able to logistically co-parent with a narcissist, because he's always going to try to abuse and control you no matter what. So big thing to be able to understand there. What are your thoughts about mediation? It doesn't work. That's what I've seen consistently with all the clients that we've worked with. I've worked with over 3,500 clients, and we've talked through many different stages and aspects. And so, the part that sucks is there's a lot of states and even different countries where mediation is required. And so you have to go through it. Mediation, what I've seen, very rarely ever works at all. Some of these questions are great. If I don't get to all these questions, I want you to join our masterclass that's coming up on tomorrow, actually, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I've got 4 live masterclasses that are going to be going on. You can go to rawmotivations.com. We'd love to have you sign up there. rawmotivations.com, masterclass pinned at the top. Yeah, these are really, really good questions. I just want to make sure. I'm probably going to miss some, especially while I'm putting away groceries, but all this. I'm emotionally intelligent and I understand the personality type. Any tips for effective communication? Yes, especially if we're talking about co-parenting, but you could use this anyways, even without co-parenting, but that would be the BIF method. The BIF method breaks down into brief, informative, friendly, and firm. Think of it as a framework for all of your communication. It's oftentimes put together for high conflict divorce, high conflict issues, when you're dealing with a toxic person. If you can communicate inside of that framework, oftentimes you're going to have better success of not looking abusive from like the court's perspective, because you're not stonewalling and looking like you're like being mean or rude to them, but you're also making sure that you're keeping it short and sweet and sticking to your boundaries. Okay, I don't know how to explain this to my children. Really good one there. A lot of times people don't know, how do I actually explain this, tell my kids about what's actually going on. Here's the thing, when your kids ask about it, be honest. Now, this doesn't mean that you go to them and you're like, okay, let's talk about this, and your dad's a narcissist and he's an asshole, all this kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. Even when they're saying, hey, why isn't dad here? Why is he not engaged? Okay, well, just be honest with them about what's actually going on. Hey, he decided that he wanted to be with another woman, and as a result, he's no longer with us. He decided to be unfaithful. He decided to be a liar. Like, some of you might think, hey, that's a really aggressive way to do it. No, your kids already know a shit ton about your relationship. You just don't realize how much they actually know and see already. So the fact is, you just need to be honest with them. And when you're not honest with them, it ends up making you the person that starts to be enabling. It ends up being you the person that the kids turn on later down the road, simply because they look at you and they're like, well, you didn't leave. Well, you didn't hold your boundaries. Well, you didn't do this. So why should I? So it's really, really key that you're very, very honest with your kids about this. I was able to register for Sunday. I'm excited. Awesome. Great job. Yeah, if you all have registered for the masterclass, like drop a comment in here. You can do this by going to rawmotivations.com. Would love to be able to help you. Masterclass is right at the top of the page because frankly, we tried to actually put links in YouTube and YouTube was having an issue for some reason. And so it wouldn't actually let me drop in links. I don't know why. It's really kind of weird. But yeah, there's like no way. Yep. No linking. So anyways, how do enablers feel? So Rachel, what's the piece with enablers? Like, so I need you to define what you're talking about enablers. You're talking about the person who's stuck with the narcissist. You're talking about like enablers, like the narcissistic friends and family. So like flying monkeys, like what do you actually mean? Because you keep bringing up the enablers piece. And I need to know where you're actually trying to go with that so I actually understand the question. Seriously, how are you a narcissistic person when you're super smart and generally honest? Well, this hasn't been how I've always been. Well, I can say for narcissistically, I've always been smart, but that's not the point here. Okay, what we're talking about here is I've always been a toxic. Like that's the thing, is I haven't always been this honest person. And that was a big piece inside of just my awareness and growth, coming to the place that I was a liar, I was a cheater, and I was an abuser, and I wasn't willing to actually face the truth. And so it was a long process and a long period of actually getting to this point. And a lot of times people look at me now and they're like, oh, you don't seem very narcissistic. Tell that to my wife and tell that to all the therapy that she's gone through, that we've gone through, and the affairs and the gaslighting and all the abuse. So there's a piece here that a lot of times what you see now is a lot of the growth and a lot of development of how it's actually happened. And this gives me a different ability to be able to communicate, hey, this is what's going on. This is how you feel crazy. This is how you feel stuck in the chaos, because I know and understand it because I put people in that consistently with how toxic I showed up over a long period of time. Can you tell me the website again? Yeah, it's the same exact as my channel, rawmotivations.com. That's it. So super easy for you to be able to jump into that, but masterclass is pinned at the top. It's a free masterclass. We got 4 of these going. Right now, I don't know where we are space-wise, but I know last I checked, we had about 150 people signed up. So just make sure, because spots are limited. We can't have everybody in the world jumping on these. But excited to be able to help however we can. We're going to answer a bunch of questions. Enablers being family, the narcissist's main source of supply. So a lot of times enablers are there and they're trying to be able to hide the narcissistic aspects from other people. Now, sometimes enablers, like let's say like family members, sometimes they're narcissistic as well, right? So that's a big piece in it. So they don't want to expose, they don't want to deal with it because that's who they are as well. Other times enablers, they don't want to be accountable that that's who they are. That's who the narcissist is in their life, because, well, maybe that means that it was their fault. Maybe they had issues. So sometimes you'll see where narcissistic families or enabling families are simply just trying to avoid the reality and avoid the truth about it. Do narcissists feel bad when they've hurt someone? So the piece of like guilt is very, very quick. It'd be like this aspect of like a quick snap, because that's how a narcissist processes it really quick to be able to avoid it, avoid the accountability, avoid the responsibility. As a narcissist, what support from a spouse do you think helps the most? I tell you, the support that helped the most with my wife is that she left. Like, we need to understand, narcissists are going to love your support because your support is supply. So you're trying to support the toxic guy that doesn't actually care about you, doesn't respect you, and doesn't give a shit about you, yet that's just going to keep feeding him. The biggest support that my wife ever did is she grew, she healed, and she left. Because it left that there was nothing else in my world except me. To be able to look back at the mirror and say, I don't have anything else, lost my job, was losing the house, lost my wife, lost my daughter. At the end, it was just, that was it. So just understand, the biggest way you can support is you can get honest, you can get truthful with yourself, and you can heal, and that ultimately will get you either leaving or that'll get him rising up. How did you prove to her that you were serious about making it work? Super good question. When she first left, there was many times that I tried to hoover her back right away. Okay, so Hoover, for those of you just log in, Hoover is this idea of like the vacuum, right? Like it's trying to suck you back into a toxic relationship. As soon as she left, it was like the second week, I was like, I love you so much, I want you back, can you come back? All this kind of stuff. And she was like, no, because she knew it was fake. She knew there wasn't a true change, a true aspect inside of my life, because I was still lying. I was still with another person. Like there's multiple things, like multiple pieces of shit that was happening at that time. So inside of this, like her getting to the place where she would actually come back, she finally came back after about 5 months, but it was not for any reason except it was she had to get different clothes. She had to get different clothes because it was season change and she was coming back. She was going to get different clothes. And when she came back, what she noticed was there's a difference in how I was actually showing up. And the difference in how I was showing up is I was asking about her, I was caring about what was actually going on, I was engaged, and I was actually willing to be called out for stuff. So all of this was a piece in working and understanding that then from there I had to start proving and showing, hey, how I'm actually showing up. And that had to do with honesty, transparency, a willingness to step into the shit of all the things that I'd done and her want to ask questions. Why did you do this? What happened? And me just have to walk through it. How do you talk with a narcissist without them trying to dominate and attack you? You don't, because they're going to try to dominate and attack you. Like, you have to understand, like, some of the questions are trying to be like, how do I navigate this? Navigate is one thing, but you actually getting a different response from him, you can't expect that because you can't control him and you can't control how this is actually going. Have you seen narcissistic people stalk exes after breakup? Yes, absolutely, 100%. A lot of times you'll see narcissists that will stalk, that will try to go after other people because either they want the control. Control is the biggest thing, right? Either they want the control of the other person or they want the satisfaction of knowing, hey, I know what this person is doing. For a lot of times for a narcissist, knowledge equals power, even though that is not true. But a lot of times narcissists will think, knowledge equals power. And when that's just happening, a lot of times he's thinking, well, if I know everything you're doing, if I know who you're with, then I have power and control over you. Even if it's after the fact and he actually doesn't have power and control over you, he still feels like it. He's still thinking like it because ultimately the game is how does he have like control over you? Narcissist is all about control. How do you identify the narcissist? That's a really good question. So diagnosing a narcissist, obviously that's not what we're doing on this channel, but there's a big piece of just understanding the traits. When you look at narcissism as a whole, there are 9 diagnostic traits that form up a narcissist. Out of those, you have to have at least 5 traits consistently to be considered diagnosable. So inside of that, there's a lot of different pieces. There's the lack of empathy. That's like the biggest one that everybody's like, oh yeah, that's what a narcissist is. There's a sense of entitlement. There's manipulation. There's this like sense of superiority. There's all different aspects of it, okay? But when you're in the practical and in the wild, a lot of times the DSM-5 and how it's actually bringing all the diagnosis doesn't actually match up that way. So a lot of times more of the practical is like, wait a second, how does he actually respond to you? How does he actually interact with you? How does he actually deal with boundaries? Like you actually saying no to him? Does he actually listen? Does he actually follow through? Is he honest? Is he gaslighting? Like there's a lot of different pieces with it. I'm not going to go into the 9 diagnostic traits. If you want to know more about those specifically, we're going to be diving into different pieces of what is a narcissist, what makes up a narcissist inside of our free masterclass that we're actually offering this week. I've got 4 different showings that's happening Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. If you want to learn and you want to sign up and grab a free seat while you're there, just go to rawmotivations.com. We'd love to be able to help you inside of this. But we've already got about 150 people signed up, so you want to grab your spot as soon as you can. Narcissistic traits are different from actual narcissism. Yeah. Well, when I'm referring to narcissistic traits, I'm talking about the 9 diagnostic traits inside the DSM-5. Okay. If I heard you, genuine ends the question. If you're not, yeah, no, that's a fallacy, and don't believe that. A lot of people do that, and I've seen narcissists use that question to continue to be abusive. How to convince my husband that he is mentally sick. He has my children. I left. He refuses to share and makes my children's lives unbearable. At that point, because you're out and because like there's that whole disconnect, it's going to be hard to be able to convince him of anything. The piece that you have to understand is you're not going to convince a narcissist he's a narcissist, and you're not going to convince him that he's mentally sick. If he's not willing to see and understand that he's a liar, nothing else is going to matter. Think of it this way. If you have a doctor that's trying to tell you that you have cancer, but you're unwilling to acknowledge that you have a broken leg, it's really hard to be able to tell you have a life-threatening thing based on the fact that you have a broken leg. So until you actually acknowledge a broken leg, it's like, what's the point of even trying to tell you that you have a worse diagnosis than a broken leg? Same thing in one sense with narcissism. Narcissism along the lines of trying to convince him, hey, I think you have a mental disorder, or hey, I think you're a narcissist. He's not gonna go for that. Like he's not gonna pick that up, especially if he's not willing to admit that he's a liar. So it's the biggest thing you have to understand is if you're trying to convince him that he's a narcissist, just stop. because 9 times out of 10 what's going to happen is he's going to see it, understand it, and then flip it back on you and make you feel like you're the crazy person, make you feel like you're the narcissist. All of this and more we're going to be going over inside of our masterclass that's actually coming up tomorrow. We've got tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. I don't know the other time, so no, it's 1 p.m. Eastern. Sorry. See, I'm already messing up the times. This is why I don't tell the times. You just go to rawmotivations.com and you can grab a masterclass seat there. Why does it seem like the narcissist's body is not real, like it's not flesh? I don't know. Maybe he's a mannequin. That's the weirdest question I've had tonight. So points go to you. Any pointers for dating someone with a narcissistic ex? They have 2 kids under 10 years old. So you're dating someone with a narcissistic ex. Okay. And then they have 2 kids, so they split. So the biggest thing is like support them emotionally. Like support that person emotionally, be there for them, and understand that they're going to have a lot of triggers that they might not have processed and worked through. So you're going to have to be patient with some of that. Okay. Thanks for answering my question. You're absolutely right. That's exactly what he did. Sherry, you're welcome. I'm sorry if I'm missing other questions. We're going to be handling a lot of questions, and my team's going to be there as well. So there'll be other people in the comments to be able to help answer questions inside of the masterclass we're running, which is rawmotivations.com. You can sign up for your free seat. Right now, last I checked, which is a little bit earlier today, we had about 150 people signed up. So you're going to want to sign up before it actually maxes out, because I don't know how many people can actually stick on there. So you don't have to worry about their narcissism. They're your ex. No, I think the question was a little bit different. Anyways, I was married to a malignant narcissist who'd admit to lying if they thought it would hurt me. Yeah, so just understand, like, it's just a manipulation game. Like, they're only doing it for an end result to be able to hurt you. Can two narcissists come together, be a dream come true? Yeah, if your dream come true is like, that's the most toxic thing ever. But in reality, that is a question. Okay, that is a question I would be interested in knowing from all of y'all. Why is there this infatuation with asking that question? This is a legit question for me. And it's a legit question because in my mind, it doesn't even make sense. It's like, I don't know. I can't even think of like what it would be. So in my mind, it doesn't make sense. So my question then would be, why is everyone always infatuated of what happens when 2 narcissists come together? This is literally me not knowing and just like pure curiosity. Why is that like the big question? So many people ask that. It's really interesting. They're like, will 2 narcissists work out? Can 2 narcissists be together? Like, I don't know. I think when I hear that question, I'm just like, what's the point? And it's nothing against you. I seriously don't know and understand why people ask that question. If 2 narcissists are together, then it's 2 toxic people together and they have a great, wonderful, toxic life, and they're just toxic, and then life ends up being toxic. They go to toxic grocery stores, talk to toxic people, they laugh toxically. Like, I don't know how to answer that. Like, yes, 2 narcissists could be together. How long will it last? I don't know. As long as the toxicness lasts with the 2 of them, which is forever. So, like, I don't really know. Okay. Is it normal for narcissists to feel alone? Yeah, to a certain degree, because they know that something's different, something's weird, something's odd about them. Yeah, there is a piece that a narcissist would be alone. I would say inside of that, you're probably going to see that more inside of a covert narcissist than you would inside of like a overt narcissist, but it's all going to be there. Just the same. I know narcissists project their bad sides. Do they project their bad physical qualities too? Like, yes. Yes, that's actually true. So this actually came up in an awareness piece inside of one of my group coaching programs with the guys, where one guy was struggling with his own like body image and like what it was looking like. And we actually extrapolated this and figured this out because of how he was having his image and his mindset about his wife's body. And so like I actually called him out because I was like, okay, this is something you keep bringing up, that you're struggling about how you view your wife's body. And I was like, what about you? And he's got really, really uncomfortable. And I was like, because you're fat and you're overweight. Like you don't take care of yourself, you don't work out, you don't show up on time. And it's no wonder why you're degrading your wife's body, simply because you can't even look in the mirror and look at yourself. It's a big realization for him. So yes, to answer your question, I know it's like around the mulberry bush, but yes, to answer your question, like narcissists do project their bad physical traits and their bad qualities on other people so they feel better about themselves. That's the whole piece around that, okay? If you want to know more about some of these questions, some of these answers, I want you to jump on to our masterclass that's coming up. You can go to rawmotivations.com. You can sign up there. Once you do, leave a comment down below saying that you've signed up, just so I know. When was your first time it crossed your mind you could have a narcissistic disorder? What helped you get consciousness? Well, the first time I ever had any type of thoughts about narcissism and this was because it just got brought up in a conversation. I was having a conversation with my wife several years ago, and the conversation with my wife was in the kitchen with the candlestick. No, I'm just kidding. It was in the kitchen, and we were talking through different things as we were cleaning up from supper, and I kind of just randomly blurted out because I was thinking about empathy, and I was thinking about how I didn't really care about other people, and I was thinking about how I only cared about like what I wanted or like the next supply, whatever. The multiple things were going through my head in the moment. But I blurted out in the moment, I was like, I wonder if I'm a sociopath. And she was like, I don't know, let's look it up. So we looked it up, went through it, and we were kind of like, you don't really match up to the aspect of being a sociopath. And then she kept looking and she was like, no, I think you might be a narcissist. Now, little at that time did I know she'd already been following and watching Lee Hammock, so she already knew, right? She already had that sixth sense of this is who I was and this was going on. But inside of that, I was like, no, like I can't be a narcissist. I don't even know what it was, but I was going to deny it. But then I started looking at it, seeing that there was traits of, yeah, I actually was. These are things that matched up, but I denied it. I pushed it away. I wanted to run from it, and also wanted to make sure that she knew that I was a narcissist. So there was a period of time that I went and talked to all of our friends to make sure that they knew, my wife just accused me of being a narcissist. You don't think I'm a narcissist? Like all of this stuff to try to gaslight her into believing that I wasn't a narcissist. Many things happened from then till now. One of the pieces, so if we fast forward, I will like jump 20 different things, ended up getting put into a sexual addiction intensive. And inside that intensive, I walked away from it and realizing, knowing and understanding I'm not a sex addict, I'm a narcissist. Because at that point, I've already exhausted a lot of options. I tried to think it was going to be different things, ADHD, there's different therapists that were trying to diagnose me different things, and nothing actually fit and actually stuck. And so after that, then I realized, okay, this is what's actually going on. I'm actually a narcissist. So inside of that, then started to go into different levels of therapy to actually start to work on it. So did EMDR therapy for 6 months, did regular talk therapy for about 5 months, and then my wife left. At that point, it was a pivotal moment because it's thinking, hey, am I still going to actually be in therapy? Am I still going to actually do this? Or am I only doing it for her, or am I actually doing it for me? And that's actually one of the biggest and best things you can actually do for a narcissist is leave them completely alone. So then they have to make a decision. Are they healing for themselves, or are they healing just to keep you in the relationship? This was really important. And I had this conversation even with another client earlier today because she was like saying, hey, he's reaching out. He wants us to do couples therapy. And I think I'm not ready to do couples therapy with him. He needs to get in therapy first for at least a minimum of 3 months. And I was like, great. All that is great. All that is perfect. But you just need to understand when you communicate this to him, you cannot communicate the time frame. And at first she was like, what do you mean? I was like, you can't communicate the time frame. If you communicate the time frame, he will do that period of time to then be like, see, I'm healed, I'm better, let's go. Come on, manipulate you back. Love to check boxes and then get back to manipulating. I had a client one time where she was talking to her ex-narcissist after the fact. He'd gotten back into her life, kind of hoovered back in, and she briefly just dropped a slight comment that was like, if he would have gotten to therapy, then this probably would have worked out. That day, he went and he signed up for therapy. Not because he needed it, not because he thought he needed it, not because he wanted it, but because he knew that would pull her back. Narcissists check boxes to pull you back, okay? Inside of all of this, I'm not answering all the questions, and I'm not trying to not answer the questions, but I get on a tangent and I miss a bunch. If you have other questions, would love to have you part of our masterclass. Right now, I'm running 4 different masterclasses coming up this weekend. The next one is tomorrow, Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Between all the different classes that are coming up, we already have about 150 people signed up. So you're going to want to grab a seat before it fills up. But if you go to rawmotivations.com, click on masterclass up at the top, I'm going to be walking through how to actually spot a narcissist. Like what's actually going on? How do you know? Like how do you heal from it? How do you break the trauma bond? All these questions and more we're going to be touching on inside the masterclass. Would love to have you part of that. Any research on if you see more narcissistic traits in certain cultures? A lot of times you can see that. I don't have any research. I don't know how to speak to that one degree. Why does a narcissist have all the perfect traits? They don't. A lot of their traits are very abusive. Would you say this experience changed you, or is it just feeding your narcissistic traits? Which experience? I just talked for like 5 minutes, so I don't know which experience you'll be asking about. I gave my narcissistic husband some space, but now he wants a divorce. Why? Probably because he found someone else, or because he just got tired of you and wants to move on. I don't mean that in a negative way, but you need to understand you giving space is the perfect thing that you could have done because it reveals that he actually doesn't care about you and he wants to move on either with someone else or something else, okay? Don't beat yourself up, because you're going to beat yourself up being like, oh, I shouldn't have given him the space. Yeah, if you didn't give him the space, then you might still be stuck in a toxic relationship even longer, because he's not doing the work to actually change and grow and develop himself. Learning and going to therapy, has it changed your life and the way you see life? Yes, 100%. So yeah, positive. Positive for sure. I've been in therapy for over 4.5 years now. I also do a process called Stalking, which is mentally rewiring your mindset every single day. I'll post on it like on Instagram, be like, hey, I'm doing my stack today. But inside of this, it's like a mental reframing. And we also use this inside of all of our therapy and inside of how we actually work with people in coaching to be able to help them transition like their mindset, what they're actually thinking, and how they get unstuck from the triggers and from the trauma that currently have them stuck. Sorry. How do I deal with the anger on the narcissist for ruining my life? It's hurting me so much. So just understand that there's a piece of the anger that will consume you, and will get to a place that you will want to retaliate, or you want to expose, or you want to attack, or you want to be like, where's this karma? And if you pause for just a moment, consider the anger being another person that's physically holding you back from your healing. So we can be angry about it, and you can stay angry about it, but at the end of the day, your anger will not get you what you actually want. Then when it boils down to it, at the end of the day, you need to look at what is it you actually desire. Do you actually desire to be healed, or do you desire to be bitter? Because that's what the anger will do. Now, I'm not saying don't be angry, and I'm not saying don't be upset about what happened to you. I'm just saying you can stay in that frame for a long period of time and you still lose. You still lose because the anger controls so much of you, it doesn't actually let you even focus on you. It doesn't let you heal, doesn't let you grow, doesn't let you develop into who you're actually called to be. We have to help you heal. A lot of that is learning how to be able to process the anger. We're going to talk about this more inside of a masterclass. If you're new, you can go to rawmotivations.com. They'll be able to help you inside of this. We got a bunch of these coming up. You will lose. Yeah. A lot of people do not realize this. When you try to fight the narcissist at their own game, you lose. Why? Because he's creating the rules as he goes, and the rules are ever changing. So when you try to fight him at his own game, when you try to win at his own game, you lose every single time, because you lower yourself to his level and you don't actually heal. It's the biggest thing. Wanting revenge hurts you, not the person who hurt you. 100%. Giselle hit it right on the head. Why do I feel like an addiction definition supplier? I give money because he doesn't have a job, and once he does, he will pay me back. I need you to know, Tanya, he will never pay you back. Like, you're giving money to a narcissist, he's never going to pay you back. Okay? Like, unless you have a legal binding agreement that's going to go through the court, and the court's going to draft it out of his check, he's never going to pay you back. He's bleeding you dry. And you have a narcissistic addiction, which is called a trauma bond, and unless we break the trauma bond, you're going to stay stuck forever. Okay, you're addicted to them because of hope and because of potential. It's the first piece. Hope and potential that leaves you stuck, thinking about him, wishing he's going to get better, hoping that it's going to change, hoping that it's going to get better. All the while, he's selling you a false reality that you don't actually see. And so as a result, you keep telling yourself it's going to get better, but in reality, it's only going to keep getting worse because you're lying to yourself that he's changing when he's actually not. The other piece that makes it the trauma bond, cognitive dissonance. Your confusion keeps you stuck. Think of it like you're driving and your GPS dies, your phone dies, you don't know where you are or what's going on. You pull up to a stop sign, you can go either right or left. You have no clue which direction you need to go. You're going to take a pause. You're going to wait for a minute. When you wait for a minute, you stay confused, you stay stuck in that moment. Now, the problem is in a narcissistic relationship, you've been stuck for years, not moving, not making decisions, because you can't make decisions. You can't decide things. You can't express things emotionally wise because it's not safe. But inside of this, you need to understand when you're in a toxic relationship, you're in with cognitive dissonance. You don't know what to believe. Does he love me? Does he not? Does he care about me? Does he not? Do I believe his words? Do I believe his actions? What do I actually believe? When you stay confused, you don't move. When you don't move, you die. Almost every single person I talk to that jumps on a call with me, their first piece is talking through how they're confused, they're stuck in the chaos, they feel crazy, and they feel like a shell of a person. That's because the person they used to be has died. It's wasted away, it's disintegrated, it's been disconnected. We have to help you heal, and this is happening through rewiring the mindset, breaking the trauma bond, actually establishing freedom. I'm going to be touching on all of this inside of my masterclass that's coming up tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Live masterclass that's happening. You can go to rawmotivations.com to be able to sign up. Save your seat, because there's already, before I started this live, there's 150 people on it. So I want to make sure you actually get this. If you do, and you sign up, drop a comment here that you've signed up. What would you say to a narcissist to give them hope for change? So this might sound really weird, but what I'd say to a narcissist to give them hope for change, nobody's coming to save you. Be honest and do the fucking work. Nobody's coming to save you. That's what he needs to know. You're exactly right. Do not stay with people like this. My husband and I have been together for 23 years. I'm leaving, the best thing I've ever done. Sherry, that's great. I'm glad you're moving forward and getting healing. Reach out. Would love to be able to help you inside of this. How does a recovered narcissistic disorder look like? Symptoms are still there, but the person is conscious. Yeah, that'd be the piece of like awareness, but inside of that, there also has to be a willingness to actually change, grow, and still adapt. So I'm constantly working on how do I continue to develop myself to show up better. Doesn't mean I'm on this endless pursuit of betterness, right? But it's this piece of like going to the gym and growing muscle, like you can lift heavier weight. So like as I continue to work on myself internally with the emotions, with the vulnerability, with the feelings, with the honesty, all those things, the more I do it, the stronger I am in doing it more and more. If you're mad about money that they owe you, I'd say you'd think of that money as a gift to someone that can't figure things out and move on with your life and never lend out money again. Yeah. Do narcissists help people? Doubt it. Yeah, the majority of narcissists do not help people. What happens when you finally are healed? Can you reconcile? I typically do not see people that reconcile because I typically do not see the narcissist actually healing and like working on themselves, because they're typically liars and they will not be honest with themselves first and foremost before anyone else. They show you who they truly are, 100%. My channel provides hope through Christ. That's great. There's a lot of hope through Christ. The thing that's different about what I would say here when we're dealing with a narcissist is there's no hope for a liar. Because no matter how big and amazing God is, he's still not going to force a person to do something against their will, because he gave people free will. So in that space, he's not going to come down and be narcissistic on you and be like, hey, you're a narcissist, I'm going to force you to change. He gives you a choice. But the narcissist isn't willing to be honest. So as a result, nothing changes. What could be the top 5 questions to self to know whether I'm a covert narcissist or not? Also, what's empathy really? If I'm a narcissist, do I know whether to feel empathy or not? So one thing I would say is, one, I would have you look at the 9 diagnostic traits. That would be really helpful for you to actually see and kind of walk through that. You can look up some of my videos, DSM-5, 9 diagnostic traits, and being able to see that and actually start to look, what do you identify, what you see? You can take a couple quizzes online. What is the one? There is one at minddiagnostic.org. That's a really like simple one. So it's not a diagnosis, but at least give you an idea if you have like some different traits. Thank you for providing hope to a fellow narcissist. You're welcome. Like, anybody can change, anybody can develop. It all depends on your willingness to be honest. Are narcissists really happy post a discard? No, they're just faking it. Faking it because they're never really truly happy. They're searching for happiness, but they can't find it because they're not willing to be honest. Honesty is the key to everything. How does it feel seeing someone you used to abuse and use, figure out, then completely rebuild themselves without you? That's the ultimate like diss to a narcissist. When they see you actually heal, grow, and develop you and no longer think a second thought about them. All right, if you guys have other questions, I'm not going to get to them all tonight, because the main piece is I want you to understand all the questions you have. I'm going to be answering the majority of these inside of my masterclass that's coming up this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You can sign up for any of them. They're going to be the same, but they're going to be all live, working with you to be able to help you see and understand when we're talking about narcissism, narcissistic abuse. And if you go to rawmotivations.com, there's a masterclass button at the top. If you click that, you can sign up. It's free. You want to save your seat while you can. It's already filling up, and it's been filling up really fast. But inside that, we're going to be dealing with, like, how do you spot a narcissist? Who is a narcissist? What makes up a narcissist? How do you break the trauma bond? How do you deal with the fog that you're in, the confusion, the brain fog? How do you actually disconnect from the narcissist emotionally? Like, a lot of these things are going to be dropped into the masterclass. Jennifer, you signed up? Awesome. Great job. So, like, would love to be able to have you be a part of this. If you can go to rawmotivations.com, you can sign up with the masterclass link up above. It's getting late. It's already been on 45 minutes, so I'm not going to be on here forever. I'm just finishing up some last questions. Plus, I have an awesome acai bowl that I need to eat, and wife just came down a couple minutes ago, so I'm going to go hang out with her. But inside of this, it is a free masterclass, so it does not cost money for you to come to the free masterclass. Okay. Yes, please sign up. Would love to be able to help you. Crystal, thanks so much. Yes, it is. Yes, we just said it's free. I'll say it's free again. It's a free masterclass. So we'd love to help you. We're just trying to be able to have people understand. Yeah. So a lot of stuff that we're going to be going through. Narcissist addicts, a lot of them are addicts, very addictive personality. I'm trying to remember all the topics. I don't have the PowerPoint in front of me to be able to walk you through, but a lot of the topics, I know trauma bond is a big one. The fog is a big one. Boundaries is a big one, what they actually are, how to actually put those in here, all those kind of things. Can you pay? No, you can't pay because it's free. There's no way for you to pay. Yeah. Are you born a narcissist? I was born a human. And then narcissism showed up. No, a lot of times I would view narcissism as being a aspect that's developed, that's not born. You might be born with tendencies, but it's not a piece that you're just born a narcissist. It's developed through trauma, through emotional neglect. It's born through a lot of different things. So do all narcissists lie? Yes. All narcissists lie. Because they lie to themselves. All right, we'd love to be able to help y'all. Just go to rawmotivations.com. The other day we went live and we were like dropping the link in so people could click on it, and everybody's like, we can't click on it. So I was like, sorry, just go to Raw Motivations because that's all we got. Is this for real? Yes, Tony, it's for real. Percentage that change. So I don't have a percentage of exact amount of narcissists who change. And the reason why is because inside of the guys that I work with, it all depends on their willingness to show up, to be honest, and to do the work. That's it. If they're not willing to be honest, if they're not willing to do the work, then there is no change. You're not going to be a narcissist by being with a narcissist. It doesn't work that way. You might have narcissistic fleas, different tendencies of coping mechanisms, but you're not going to be a narcissist. What we need to do is focus on helping you heal the triggers. So we're going to talk about that inside of the masterclass, so you can sign up. All right, I'm wrapping up for the night. If you guys haven't had a chance to answer all the questions, then want to be able to help you inside the masterclass that we're doing, you can go to rawmotivations.com. You all have been fantastic. You all have done a really great job just like walking through, just talking through all this, and you guys have had really fantastic questions. We'd love to have you in the masterclass to be able to ask some questions, be able to interact. We're going to have my team there, so they're going to be able to be in the comments and help answer some questions for you as well, just because there's a lot of questions, I get it. But we're going to be walking through like step by step, different pieces that I put together, just to be able to showcase and talk through this piece of how to actually heal from narcissistic abuse. What does it actually look like? What is a narcissist? Like how to have good boundaries, how to deal with the fog, how to break the trauma bond. All this stuff is actually going to happen inside of the masterclass that we're running here. Just go ahead and log into that, but it's going to be rawmotivations.com, so you can sign up the seat. Sign up for your seat. We'd love to be able to have you there. So anyways, we'd love to talk to you inside of that. We'd love to get some of your questions. Dr. Wellbeing, you're totally fine. Go to rawmotivations.com, rawmotivations.com. So go there. There's a masterclass link at the top. I can't drop the link in because it's not working when we try to do this. So just jump over there. We'd love to be able to help you inside of this. So anyways, Narcissistic X, if you want to, you can reach out. We'd love to be able to work with you as well. There's a select few guys that I work with that are narcissistic. If you're interested, easiest way is to like DM me on Instagram, or you can go to rawmotivations.com. There's a one-on-one. You just have to scroll down for the guys section. But we'd love to be able to help inside of that too. Anyways, y'all have a blessed, wonderful night. If you haven't already, go to rawmotivations.com. I'm signing off for the night, but thank you all so much for being here. The link's at the very top, home, masterclass, resources, right at the very top of the website. If you're on mobile, then you might need to click on like the little like 3 lines hamburger, so it drops down so you can see home, masterclass, and resources as well. So awesome. Thank you all so much for being here. Would love to be able to help you move forward. Narcissistic asks to shoot me another DM. Right now, there's a lot of stuff going on over there. Or just go into the website, fill the application, and you can sit down and have a conversation because you'll get a call link. So it'd be a great way to be able to talk to. Anyways, y'all bless and wonderful night. If you haven't had a chance to be able to sign up for the masterclass that's coming up this weekend, go to rawmotivations.com. Same as my user handle, channel handle, rawmotivations.com. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful night, and we'll see y'all next time. Take care.